let's bring ourselves into the center of our mat. Let's cross our legs whichever way is least habitual. So if you usually cross your legs like this, I want you to uncross them and cross them the other way so that you have that feeling of it's slightly less comfortable than when you do it habitually. And then draw the crown of your head, up towards the ceiling and let your shoulders relax. So we're sitting in a nice, deliberate seated pose. And then when you're ready and settled, let's start to take in our nice deep breath in through our nose. And exhale out through the mouth. Good. Again, let's take a nice long breath in through our nose. And out through our mouth. Good. One more of those. Really see if you can try and settle yourself, calm your mind and your body. Taking this opportunity to bring yourself inwardly so you can be fully composed for today's class. And once you've steadied yourself and calmed your mind, if you work with an Ujjayi breath, which is the constriction of the back of your throat on your inhale and your exhale, then you can start to bring this in now. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then just ignore that bit, because I will not be teaching Ujjayi today. And then as you start to settle your mind, I want you to pick out two aspects of today. So one is body and one is mind. And in your body, I'd like you to think of one area of your body. It can be as specific as your right little toe, or it can be as broad as your legs. And I just want you to think about how they feel and how you want them to feel throughout today's class. And then with your other aspect, the mind, I want you to embrace an attitude. So this can be a positive attitude of I can, or I will, or I'll try. Or it can be something more neutral, saying that I am present, or I am focused. Hold these two attributes in your mind, reaffirming them by repeating them in your head. And then slowly bringing your awareness back towards your breath. Good. As you next inhale, let's interlace our fingers, turn the palms forwards and reach our hands forwards. As you exhale, just allow your shoulders to become a little bit lower. Good. As you inhale again, let's reach those fingers up towards the ceiling. Good. As you exhale, just start to dip over towards the left-hand side, keeping your right bum cheek flat down on the floor. Good. Let's come all the way back up to center. And then let's take the dip over to the other side. Good. Come back to center. Long inhale. And then exhale. Reach those hands forwards, roll the pelvis forwards, and come down towards the floor. Let your head be nice and loose. Good. Nod it yes. Shake it no. Good, and then roll yourself back up to your seated position. Take your hands behind you, point your fingers forwards, shrug your shoulders back. And then when you're ready, lift your hips away from the floor and stretch out the front part of your body. Good, nice and slowly lower that down. Good, just shake out your fingers and your wrists. Turn your head from side to side. Good, and then slowly make your way onto all fours. Making sure your knees are underneath your hips and your wrists are underneath your shoulders. And start to slowly draw yourself in broad circles around the mat. When you go a few times in one direction, reverse it and go in the other direction. Good, let's reverse it again. Going in your first direction. And then reverse it again to go back into your second direction. Good. Let's bring our hands a little bit further forwards and bring ourselves to stillness. Make sure that your toes are tucked. Good, let's start to tilt the pelvis. Okay, so our pelvis is tilting, our bum is going to stick towards the back of the room. And then nice and slowly, elbows out to the side a little bit, hug them in, and then press yourself up into a downward facing dog. Good, now reach your bum up high, press your hands nice and firmly away to stretch out your back. Breathe. Good, another breath. Holding it nice and steady. Good. Now as you next inhale, we're going to move forwards into a plank. Good. And now back into downward facing dog. Good. Inhale forwards into a plank. Stay there. Let's lift our left leg up behind us, keeping that leg nice and straight. Good. And then lower it back down. Good. Shift yourself back into downward facing dog. Good. Ripple forwards again into a plank. Keep your belly button lifted. Let's lift our right leg up. Press the heel back. Hold it there. Good. Lower it down. Downward facing dog. Good. Inhale. Come forwards again. Press the floor away. Lift your left heel up. Good. This time we're going to curl that left leg underneath us, but stay over the top of our hands and come back. Good. Downward facing dog. Good. Inhale forwards into a plank. Right leg lifts. Good. Curl it underneath. Hold it there. Good. Let's take it back. Good. Let's lift our hips up nice and high, going back into downward facing dog. Good. Let's lift our left foot up all the way towards the ceiling. Start to straighten out your right leg. And then we're going to try and draw our left knee to tap the top of our left arm. Good. Let's take it all the way back up. Good. 2 more of those. So draw it forwards, tap the left arm. Good. Take it all the way back up. And then draw it forwards. Good. Pause there. Good. Now we're going to lower our knee down towards the floor, touch the floor briefly, and then come all the way back up and go back into a 3-leg dog. Good. Lower that left leg down behind you. Pull forwards into a plank. Lower yourself down through chaturanga and back into cobra. Good. Press yourself back. Child's pose or downward facing dog. Breathe. Wherever you are, either child's pose or downward facing dog, just breathe. Good. Now nice and slowly we're going to lift our right leg up, come back into downward facing dog if you're in child's pose. Good. Lift that right leg up nice and high, straighten out your left, And again, slowly try and tap the top of your right arm with your right knee. Good. Swing that leg underneath. Take it all the way back up. Again, draw it forwards. Take it underneath all the way back up. Last one. Draw it forwards. Good. Lower that knee down towards your wrist. Lift it all the way back up. Take it all the way back up into a three-leg dog. Good. Lower that foot down behind you. Draw forwards into a plank. Lower yourself down through chaturanga and back into cobra. Good. Let's take ourselves back into downward facing dog. Good. When you're ready, we're going to lift our left leg up and curl it underneath and step that foot up in between our hands. Good. Now make sure your feet are nice and strong. So coming nice and high on the tips of your back foot. Now we're going to swoop our arm forwards and up and round. Good. Let's try that again. So let's bring the hand back down to frame that front foot. We're going to swoop it up and round and reach to the back of the room. Good. Let's take it back down. This time as we lift our hand, we're going to use it as a way to draw ourselves up into high lunge. So inhale to lift that hand, come all the way up into a variation of warrior two, before then squaring your arms back towards the front into high lunge. Good. Let's hold ourselves here for a little bit. Breathe. High on the back toes. Bend deeper into that front knee. Good. Now suck your belly button towards your spine. Good. Nice and slowly, we're going to start to straighten our left leg. Good. Now reaching our hands up nice and tall. Keeping that front leg straight, we're going to begin to fold over it. Reaching our hands towards the front. Good. Now let your hands go down towards the floor and reach back, interlace the thumbs and lift them up behind you. Good. Then let's take those hands all the way back up towards the ceiling. Rebend into that left knee. Good. Now press firmly down with the right foot because we're going to launch ourselves off and up into a standing balance. Good. So we're here with our right leg lifted. Ooh, I've lost my balance. Good. Arms are reaching up nice and high. Good. Let's begin to take the leg out to the side. Breathe. And then bring it back in towards the center. Good. Keeping that leg raised, we're going to start to tilt forwards and take that leg towards the back of the mat. Again, folding over that front knee, interlace the thumb behind you and reach those fingers up. So this time we're doing a forward fold over a bent front knee. Good. Let's take those hands down towards the floor. Step ourselves back into a plank. Good. Draw ourselves forwards over our fingertips. Lower ourselves down through chaturanga. Curling ourselves back through cobra. Good. Let's tuck our toes and take ourselves back into downward facing dog. Good. We need to do the same thing on the other leg. So when you're ready, inhale, right leg lifts. Good. Curl it underneath and step that foot up in between your hands. Now strengthen your back leg. Come high onto the toes. Good. Let's reach our right hand forwards and round and up. Good. Circle it all the way back to the floor. Good. Again, reach it forwards, round and back. And then take it down towards the floor. This time use it to take yourself all the way up into a high lunge with a twist to the right before then squaring your body back towards the center. Good. See if you can press your rib cage back to stop it from popping out. And now bend nice and deeply into that front knee. Good. Let's interlace our fingers above our head. Good. Nice and slowly, we're going to start to straighten our right knee and then begin to fold over that straightened front leg, reaching our hands forwards. Good. When you're ready, uninterlace your fingers, swoop them down to the floor behind you, and then interlace the fingers up towards the ceiling. Breathe. Good. Uninterlace those thumbs, reach those hands towards the floor, and then back up towards the ceiling. Rebend into your right knee. Good. Now press down firmly with your back foot and lift yourself up into that one leg balance. Keep those arms reaching high. I know they might be feeling a little sore, so just breathe through it. Good. Now let's start to open that leg to the side, holding yourself nice and steady. Good. Let's bring that leg back in. Good. Keep it lifted. Keep those toes active. Breathe. Good. Slowly begin to take that leg behind you, tilting forwards. Take it back into a high lunge. Good. Then start to fold over your bent front knee. Swoop the hands behind you. Interlace the thumbs. Reach them towards the ceiling into an exalted warrior. Breathe. If you feel yourself collapsing in onto the top of your thigh, just lift your chest up a little bit. Good. Then uninterlace your thumbs. Bring your hands down towards the floor. Step back into a plank. Good. Now just gently shift yourself forwards and back with the balls of your feet. Trying to stay as strong as possible in your plank. A reminder that those rest poses are still there, child's pose or mountain pose. Good. Bring yourself to stillness. Let's take ourselves down through chaturanga. And this time come all the way up into upward facing dog. Maybe gently swing your hips from side to side. Breathe. Good, then flip your toes and take yourself back into downward facing dog. And breathe. Long breath in. And then let it go. Good, we're going to start to lower our right heel towards the floor as we bend deeper into our left knee. Just to stretch out our hamstrings and calves a little bit more. Good. Just alternate these stretches. Good. Slowly begin to bring yourself back to a normal downward facing dog. Here we're going to ripple forwards like someone's flipped on the slow motion switch, bringing ourselves forwards into our plank. Good, making sure you're feeling strong. So heels back, lift your belly button. Arms are strong. Good, again, slow motion. Take ourselves down through a chaturanga and back into this time just a cobra. Open your chest. Breathe. Good. Shift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Good. Again, long breath in. Steady breath out. Good. When you're ready, let's lift our right leg towards the ceiling. Then start to straighten out the left. Curl that right leg underneath you, squeeze it up to your chest, and step the foot up in between your hands. Good. Let's begin to lower our left heel down towards the floor. So preparing ourselves for warrior two. When you're ready, inhale, windmill your arms up into your warrior two. Bring your hands to your waist for a second and just make your legs a little bit wider than you normally would. Good. And then bend deeply into that front knee. Good. Turn and look forwards. And then start to bring your arms out. Good. Now, as you next exhale, we're going to bend deeper into this front knee and lower as if we're trying to scoop something off of the floor. Okay? If you're not sure, just have a look and follow on the next one. We're going to do it 3 times. Okay? So take a long breath in. As you exhale, bend deeply into that front knee, scoop an imaginary ball off of the floor, and then lift that up towards the ceiling. Good, let's come back to center. Good, 2 more of those. Long breath in. As you exhale, bend deep into that front knee, scoop that ball off the floor, and then reach it up towards the ceiling. Lost my balance. Good, come back to center. Good, last one of those. So when you're ready, long breath in. Exhale, bend deep down towards the floor, scoop that ball, lift it up, and reach towards the ceiling. Good, let's come back to center. We're going to start to straighten our front leg. Good. Now let's reach our right arm forwards. Windmill our arms down so that our arm comes onto the inside of our right leg. Left arm comes up towards the ceiling. Here, now we can just dangle our arm like this. If you're feeling a crunching sensation here, we want to lift up until that stops. If you're not feeling a crunching sensation, then see if you can get your hand further towards the floor. And then finally, start to turn your head towards the ceiling. And breathe. Good, wherever you are, slowly draw yourself back. Warrior two, rebend into that front knee. Good, we're going to bring our hands into prayer. Good, take a long breath in. And then as you exhale, bend deep into that front knee. Bring your right elbow to touch the inside of your right knee. Good, now we're going to change the way that our front toes are pointing. We're going to bring them round so they're pointing the same direction as the back toes. Good, let's turn the back toes so they're pointing behind us. And then we're going to switch our warrior two. Good, so come all the way back up. I realize you may be facing away from your devices. That's fine, because we're going to do the same thing as we did on the other side. So don't worry if you can't see. Good. Now when you're ready, long breath in. Exhale, bend deep into that front knee. Scoop an imaginary ball off the floor. Reach it up towards the ceiling. Exalted warrior. Good, come back to normal. Good, again, long breath in. Exhale, dip down nice and deep, scoop that ball, lift it up, exalted warrior. Come back to center. Good, last one, long breath in. Exhale, bend deep into that front knee, scoop that ball, lift it up. Stretch that side of your ribs. Good, come back to your warrior two. Good, nice and slowly. We're going to start to straighten this front leg. Good, now reach forwards with your left hand. Windmill your hand down. And again, find the point on your body that works for you. Just managed to rip the mic off of me. Good, so you may be able to touch the floor if you don't get a crunching sensation in the side of your body. Or if you do, lift yourself up a little higher until that disappears. Breathe. Wherever you are, breathe. Good, let's slowly rotate ourselves back. Rebend into that front knee. Hands come into a prayer. Good, take a long breath in. And then as you exhale, dip down again. So you're trying to touch your left elbow to the inside of your left knee. Good, let's switch and reverse our warrior two, bringing ourselves all the way back up. Good. Now turn and look over your right hand. Take a long breath in and lift your shoulders with you. As you exhale, pivot your hands down again towards the floor and unplug your back heel. Good, we're going to do 3 movements again. We're going to do 3 movements where we inhale and lift our back knee to connect with the back of our right calf. And then we're going to take it back to the back of the mat. Good. So let's do 3 from there. So inhale, lift, knee touches the back of your calf, and then back. Good. Inhale, lift, knee touches back of calf, and then back. Good. Last one. Inhale, lift, and then back. Good. This time we're going to step our right foot back so we end up in a plank. Strengthen out your plank. So heels back. Press that floor away. Good. Take yourself down through the slowest chaturanga you can manage and up into upward facing dog. Breathe. Good. Flip your toes and go back into downward facing dog. Good. When you're ready, we're going to lift our left leg up. We're going to step it up in between our hands. Good. Same thing as we just did on the other side. We're going to shift our right knee in to touch the back of our left calf. And then we're going to take it all the way to the back of the mat. Good. 2 more like that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back. Good. Inhale, lift. But this time, instead of taking the foot back, we're going to plonk it right down next to the left foot. Good. Now stay low. So knees bent, bum sticking back. We're going to draw our hands together and bring them up towards our chest. Good. Nice and slowly turn to the left. See if you can bring your right elbow on top of your left knee and turn to the left. Breathe. Good. Come back to center. Turn the other way. If you feel one knee popping forwards, then just shift that hip back. Good. Come back to center. And now begin to reach your hands forwards, staying in a deep squat. And then begin to lift them up into a chair pose. Good. Stay with it. Breathe. Good. Now extend your legs. Reach your hands towards the ceiling. Press both big toes into the floor. Good. And then begin to tilt back into a little back bend. Good. Come forwards. Hands go down past your face as you fold forwards, following your hands to come down towards the floor. Good. Let's step our feet back into a plank. Good. Long breath in. As you exhale, flow down through a chaturanga. And cobra. Release those shoulders, open the chest. Breathe. Good, let's tuck our toes and go back into downward facing dog. Option here to reach back with your right hand and grab the outside of your left shin as you look under your left armpit. Good, and then change it with the other hand. Good, come back to center. Good, now take a nice few long breaths here. Good, now start to pull forwards into a plank. We're then going to rotate so we come onto the outer edge of our right foot, turning to the left, so we come into side plank. Easier option here is to bring that knee down to help you lift your hips up. Good. If you're really feeling it today, I want you to lift your other leg off, bend the knee and bring it as far up towards your left armpit as you can. Good. Final thing to do, regardless of where you are, is to reach that left arm over your head and breathe. Good. Let's start to come back into a plank. Immediately shift yourself around to the other side. Figure out which one you're going to do. Knee down, knee lifted, or right leg up and knee bent. Finally, stretching your right arm over your head. Breathe. One more breath. Good, let's make our way back towards plank. Good, lower ourselves down through chaturanga. Curl ourselves back into an upward facing dog. And breathe. Good, bring your knees to the floor. Shift your hips back. And take a child's pose. Just keep your breath under control as you rest in your child's pose. Good. Let's bring ourselves up onto all fours. We're going to take our knees mat distance apart. Okay, we're going to come into frog pose. Okay, so you may want to take your knees a little bit wider than this if you need to. Once you've got your knees nice and wide, we're going to walk our hands forwards, come down onto our forearms, and then begin to bring our hips forwards. Now, depending on how flexible you are here, you may have your bum still quite high. That's fine. Or if you're nice and flexible in your hips, you may be able to bring yourself down onto the floor. I admit it's an odd looking pose. It kind of looks like I'm humping the floor. If you look like you're humping the floor, then you're doing it right. Which I feel like is a phrase you probably didn't think you'd hear today. Good. If you've managed to get your hips down, you may also be able to bring your head down and your chest down. The idea of this pose is to stretch the inner thighs. Good, and then when you're ready, keeping those toes tucked, bring your hands underneath you to help lift you up, and then go in the opposite direction into a very wide leg child's pose. Good, let's bring ourselves back to our normal all fours position. Take yourself up into downward facing dog. Good, and then we're going to take our right leg forwards and underneath this and step the foot up in between our hands. Good, let's take that right foot right to the edge of the right hand side of the mat and bring our left knee down. Okay, so we've come into a lizard. Let's bring ourselves as low as you feel like you're able to go. Okay, you might be onto your elbows like this. You may be on your hands. That's fine. Just play around with what your body is allowing you to do. Then finally, we're going to lift that back knee again away from the floor and gently use it to press ourselves forwards and back. Okay, so we're trying to roll into our inner right thigh. Good, now wherever you are, let's bring ourselves back up onto our hands. Good, take that left leg back. So we come into a 3-leg plank and then lower yourself down through chaturanga, back into cobra. Good, tuck your toes and go back into downward facing dog. Good, on an inhale, draw the left knee in towards your chest. Step the foot up in between your hands and lower your back knee down. Good, let's shift that left foot out towards the left edge of the mat so we can bring our left hand onto the inner side of that leg. Again, make your way down towards the floor as far as your body allows you to. And once you're in a comfortable enough position, lift that back knee away. Breathe. Good, gently rock forwards and backwards on the balls of your feet. And breathe. Good, let's start to bring ourselves back up onto our hands. Let's shift that left leg back into a 3-leg plank. Lower ourselves down through chaturanga, into a cobra, and then take ourselves back into child's pose, taking our hands around the back by our feet if we're able to. Your head might just dangle, or if you want to slide a brick or a cushion underneath it to give it something to rest on, then go for it. Good, let's roll ourselves up. So we come to sitting on our heels. Good, shift yourselves round onto your bum. And then swing your legs round so that they're out in front of you. Good. Now we're going to lift our legs so that the lower half of our legs is parallel with the floor. We're going to bring our arms as if we're holding onto a rowing bar. And we're going to try and straighten our back out by taking our shoulders back as much as you feel like you should. Good. Now when you're ready, we're going to straighten our legs and keep our arms flush with the floor. Good. Now squeeze it in and then take yourself back to where you started. Good. 2 more of those. So when you're ready, straighten out your legs, squeeze it in and come back to center. Good. Keep your abs nice and strong here. I know they're aching. Last one. Extend. Squeeze it in and then come back to center. Good. This time, we're just going to roll ourselves down towards the floor. And once you get down towards the floor, just enjoy that feeling of needing no energy whatsoever to lie down on the floor. Taking a few breaths. When you're ready, start to bring the knees in so that your feet come just behind your bum and they're roughly hip distance apart. Bring your hands so that you're trying to reach for your heels. You may be able to touch them, you may not. Good. When you're ready, take a strong inhale. Press down with your feet and your hands to lift your hips up nice and tall. Good. Now see if you can shift your shoulder blades under, and you may be able to interlace your fingers underneath your bum. Keep pressing those hips high and breathe. Good. Unhook your shoulder and gently lower your hips back down towards the floor. Good. Now from here, we're just going to gently windscreen wipe our knees from side to side. Just gently rolling onto either hip as we move them. Good. Let's start to lift our feet off of the floor. So we're resting on our lower back, but continue that movement of shifting our knees from side to side. Good, now let's bring our feet down towards the floor. Good, let's reach our hands overhead. So we're stretching out the front part of our body and the sides. Good, let's stretch our left leg forwards, followed by our right leg. Good, so we're reaching ourselves as long as our body will go. Take a long breath in. And then let it go. Slowly start to bring your hands back down to either rest on your belly or on the floor. And just remind yourself of those two aspects of body and mind that you set yourself at the beginning. How does that area of your body feel? And how did you do the mind aspect? I feel like that's a terrible word. How did you do the mind? How did you ensure that you stuck with your mind? As you gently just allow your body to sink a little further into the floor and just release. And now start to wiggle your fingers and your toes and your nose. And nice and slowly start to bring your knees back in towards your chest. Just massage your lower back on the floor for a second before rolling yourself over to either the right or the left hand side. Pressing yourself up to a seated position, facing the front, with your eyes still closed. Resting your hands in your lap, or on your knees, or in a prayer. Let's take a long breath in together. Hold the breath at the top and count to 4. And then let it go. And then gently flutter your eyelids open. Oh, my hair's gone a bit bouffant. Thank you very much for joining today. I hope you're as suitably sweaty as I am right now. You might not be able to see it due to the poor camera, which is my friend right now. But I am sweating lots, so please make sure you drink plenty of water, whatever you do next. Guzzle down a good glass of water before you do anything else. But to each and every one of you who practiced today, but most importantly to yourselves, we can bow and say, Namaste. Thank you very much, everybody.